plays like that in practice? How do you feel about it?
You know, I like to see the energy out there. I mean, we're accountability-driven defense, and so I think when guys make plays, they feed off each other, and so it's good to see that we're playing with a lot of intensity out there.
But, you know, I know you're not overly expressive, but was that great to you? Did you love it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there were some guys that made some plays out there, and I'm sure there were some mistakes that we got to correct. But like I said, overall, I like their attention to detail, and you know, they're really playing together right now, and you can tell they've had a good summer working together in the play-around practices and in the meetings they've had by themselves. So we're starting off further ahead maybe than what we have in the past.
You have a lot of guys that you're obviously very familiar with, but I'm wondering who are maybe a couple guys that you're getting to know that have caught your eye so far?
I think, you know, up front having Marlon back is, you know, he's a little bit of a difference maker in there up front. You know, Jay Tufeli, you know, was been very disruptive now for 2 practices in a row. Caleb Tremblay, you know, the junior college transfer, I think he's going to be able to give us some quality minutes based on his skill set and the things that he shows and the way he's picking up the technique and the defense up front. I would say on the outside, you know, Hunter Eccles has done a good job, and Kanai has really come on. You know, he's a slippery guy playing on the outside. And then in the secondary, I think Greg Johnson at corners really showed some flashes. Jonathan Lockett has done a good job. You know, he's obviously a guy that's been battled through injury around here, but coming back for his 5th year, he's done a nice job. And Elijah Griffith has caught my eye. So, and Isaiah Pola-Mao.
What's been different about Jay Tufeli from last year to now?
I just think his maturation process, you know, adjusting to the college life, the college game, what his schedule's like. You know, he's one of those players that wants to appease everybody that's trying to teach him something. So we gave him just a handful of things that he needed to work on, and gave him just, hey, zero in on these few things, and don't try to do everything, and just kind of take baby steps. And I've seen a big growth in him since spring ball till now.
What have you seen from that safety position opposite of Marvell Tell?
Well, it's a group that's very deep and talented. It's kind of a roller coaster right now. There's been really nobody that's put themselves in that position. Consistency enough by practice based on what we grade them and how they practice. So it's been kind of a revolving door, and it'll continue to be that way. We hopefully would like to get that thing settled down within the next week, so Marvell's got somebody that he can work with in there for the last couple weeks before the opener.
You gave Pola-Mao a little bit of first-team run today. You gave him a little bit of first-team run today. What has he shown you?
You know, he's one of those roller coaster guys too, but his roller coaster was up in the walkthrough, and then it was up and down during practice. So he's, you know, never really played. He redshirted last year, so really only reps. We don't have any full-time experience game rep wise and how he's going to be on game day. But he seems to have a lot of focus and attention to detail. He just has to continue to be a little bit more consistent. And all those guys playing that other safety position to kind of all fall in that same boat. But there's a lot of promise there with whoever plays there. And I think whoever does play there with Marvell, you'll see a couple guys playing there. It won't be just one guy. As you saw, you know, Matt Lopes play a lot last year, and then the year before, as you remember, Marvell rotated in with Chris Hawkins. So we'll roll some safeties through there.
What's been your impression of Isaiah Langley?
Isaiah's been a little more consistent. I think you know, he's another guy that we've, you know, earmarked some technique things that when you look at his play over the last 2 years, things that he needs to get better at, and we've addressed that really with everybody, but some things that he needs to work on, and I can see that he's locked in and focusing in on those things so far. So it hasn't been as consistent as I'd like, but it's better than it was.
What have you seen from Imam Marshall during camp?
You know, there's a big focus out of Iman. This is his last year. You know, he's coming in here being a 3.5 to 4 year starter at corner in the Pac-12. So he's played a lot of ball. He obviously has an NFL skill set. He's a big, long, physical corner, and there's parts of his game that he needs to get better at. And you know, he's demonstrated the leadership that you would expect out of a 4th year starter within this defense, and I expect him to continue to get better the more we get some reps out here.
How good is it for you guys that they're having you really come hard and play physical and play fast, you know, day after day?
I mean, I like it. I mean, that's you know, we want smart, tough, competitive players, and we want to be physical. I'd like to think we've always been physical in camp defensively here, and so I think our guys are excited and looking forward to being in full pads tomorrow.
Is Iosefa someone that could essentially play maybe any of the 4 linebacker spots?
Yeah, he's really talented from a skill set wise. Where obviously you saw last year him start games for us outside. He started both positions inside. Yeah. He knows the defense as well as anybody in the whole crew, and he gives us a lot of flexibility from a depth standpoint. But when we open up against UNLV, he'll be one of our 11 starters somewhere. I just don't know exactly where, and obviously he's been kind of thrust to go inside with Cam's hamstring. But you could tell Jordan the night before the game he was going to play Mike, and he wouldn't have to practice it for 3 weeks, and he'd be fine. So I think when you see when Cam can come back, then Jordan will move outside. But these have been good reps for him inside, because as a staff we've had a plan during camp where we wanted to eventually get him in there. It just happened quicker than what we expected, and obviously, unfortunately, because of an injury.
Yeah, could you foresee even doing that in a game? Let's say not even because of injury, just because he could do it. Like, I'm going to put him here one play, I could put him here another play.
I don't like guys to rep a position during the week that they're not going to play on Saturday. So whatever he reps that week, that's what he would play on Saturday.
One more question, guys.
Ajani had a couple of picks, the first 2 days, but just overall, what have you seen from him?
He's one of my favorite players. He is, like I've said, a gym rat kid. He loves to play the game. He's always asking questions. It's really, really super important to him. And so he's good for the rest of the young guys to bring them along. He does everything right. Drill work, film work, on the field. He's going to do exactly what you ask him to do, and then some. But he's had a good camp so far. And, for him to be really a 2.5-year starter coming into this next season, I expect him to make some progress as well. He's a guy that knows what his limitations are, and he tries to turn that into a strength for him.